This week, we're taking a closer look at Yucca Mountain as lawmakers in Washington discuss the possibility of reviving the project. Tonight, we have the arguments for and against the nuclear waste repository. Ariana Bennett joins us now live after speaking with both sides. And Ari, is the argument mostly about safety?
Yeah, that's a big part of it, but it's also about money and politics. Yucca Mountain was first singled out to be the nation's nuclear waste repository in the 1980s. It was not a popular decision in Nevada.
Nevada was the politically weakest state in 1987, and there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, having been part of the political process, that it was a political decision.
There were a handful of sites around the U.S. chosen as possible places to permanently store the nation's spent nuclear fuel. Yucca was the only one actually explored. Halstead argues it wasn't the best choice, but it had the least amount of political opposition. Fast forward 30 years, and it's still the nation's only explored option. To the pro-Yucca folks, this is a big point in its favor.
It's a great garage for spent nuclear fuel. Are there other great garages? I'm sure there are.
But this one has a start. Those pushing for the program to move forward say the federal government has already invested $15 billion into it, and they see it as a potential cash cow for Nevada.
If Nevada was smart, they would figure out a way to have the federal government give them money. We're helping you, so you help us. The economic benefit could be billions of dollars.
Opponents argue that it's not worth the risk. They cite safety issues with the transportation and storage of the spent fuel.
What makes Yucca Mountain unlike any of the other repositories is you can't rely on the geology to keep the waste from getting into groundwater.
The government plan would install titanium drip shields in the mountain to prevent any potential leaks. Advocates argue that risk isn't an issue to begin with, since the fuel is stored in dry casks.
So they don't leak. There's no water in them. There's nothing to leak.
And then there's the issue of transportation. The fuel would have to be shipped from more than 70 different sites around the country. Most, around 90%, would go by train, partly through Las Vegas or the Reno-Sparks area. Opponents say that puts Nevadans at risk in case of a crash. But Marlowe points to this safety test done in the 70s. Researchers put the fuel casks through truck crashes, train crashes, and even immersed it in burning jet fuel. In all three scenarios, the internal material was not compromised. Still, it remains a heated debate in the Silver State and in Washington, D.C. And speaking of, a bill to revive the project is set for discussion in Washington tomorrow. Governor Brian Sandoval will also be in the Capitol speaking with Energy Secretary Rick Perry. We are told they will discuss the Yucca project. Covering the story live, Ariana Bennett, Channel 2 News.